Everyone loves a good before and after, but if your listing feels more like the before, you may be losing money and not even know it yet. Hey everyone, it is Alyson, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. If you're planning to sell your home as is and think buyers are going to line up for the deal that it may be, think again. That is not what we are exactly seeing in the market. So let's dive in. On a national scale, Zillow just released a new report that is quite eye-opening. We are seeing that renovated homes are selling for 3.7% more than expected, and they're getting 25 to 30% more engagement with likes and shares. Conversely, we are seeing homes that are labeled fixer-uppers, need TLC, personal touch, investor. They are selling for 7% less than similar homes. This 10% swing on the national scale is telling us that it's not that buyers are just preferring a move-in ready home, they are steering away from a project home. So what does it look like here in the South Denver area, in our Denver metro area? I particularly want to see what it looks like in my stomping grounds. What does it look like in Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Lakewood, Aurora, Castle Rock? So it looks more distinct than this. We have bigger numbers than what we see on the national scale. Using keywords that Zillow used also, right? So we're looking at fixer upper, TLC, renovated, remodeled. I looked at homes that were built from 2010 or before. I wanted to get all of those new builds out of there. People will put things like updated, even though the home is 3 or 4 years old. So I wanted to get that set of data where we're really looking at homes that need to be renovated or updated, right? Here's what the data showed. Homes with words like remodeled sold for 8.5% more than the average. Conversely, homes with phrases like TLC, needs work, fixer-upper sold for 20% less than the average. We are looking at nearly a 30% swing between these two polls. On top of that, I looked at concessions data. So after we're under contract, excluding where we are with the final sales price, how much more did the seller have to give up in concessions during this process? For fixer-uppers, it was 5x, a multiple of 5. We are talking thousands more on average. We were in a pittance for homes that were remodeled, hundreds of dollars on average. We were in the thousands and thousands of dollars for the fixer-uppers. So sellers, what actually counts as renovated? It does not, I repeat, does not mean you need to gut the whole house and start over. We are not talking about a house that absolutely mimics a new construction home. What we are seeing is a home that has either a brand new kitchen or a brand new primary bath, or it may have outstanding curb appeal. And I am talking the whole entire house was painted, has great landscaping. They did something special in the backyard, maybe a brand new Trex deck, outdoor covered patio. So something really special in that outdoor living space. And it may also be on open space or a green belt, which enhances the desirability of the house. Not every time, but it helps if you have that improved deck or fire pit and you're on something really beautiful out back. So great exterior, kitchen, bath. Kitchens and baths always sell home. If you've nailed one of those with your update or renovation and the rest of your house is congruent, I don't mean it has to be updated. I mean it's clean, it's been well kept. You don't have 8 different types of flooring or 7 different types of flooring in your house. You don't have cracked grout and stained countertops in the secondary bathrooms. It doesn't smell like a dried out P-trap in one of the laundry room or the basement. If your house is congruent and feels clean and feels like it's easy to come in and put a personal touch on another space, it's not a problem for a buyer to want to put a strong offer on a home like that. Other updates that really help move a home along, get to at least list price, maybe a little over, but maybe not as extreme as some of these other beautifully updated properties. Consistent flooring. I just mentioned, don't have 7 or 8 types of other flooring in your house. That's not an exaggeration. I have walked into a home with buyers, stood at the front door as we're putting booties on or taking shoes off, and been able to pivot and count 7 different types of flooring from the front door. Automatically, in the buyer's head, they are calculating $30,000 to fix that so that it's aesthetically pleasing when their guests come in, when they come in. So they have discounted the home price before they have even toured anything else. So consistent flooring throughout. It doesn't always have to be just one type. You may have carpet going up the stairs and then a solid surface floor throughout. but don't have multiple types of flooring. It's jarring. Neutral paint. If you have multiple colors in your house, if you have a kid who wanted a pink room, if you had a kid who wanted an aqua room, if you have an office that was red or dark green, and you have brown walls that aren't bright white, it is time to get professional painters in and paint your home before you go to market. You will recoup that cost. I am telling you, you will. Next is updated lighting. I know it can seem like a small thing. Each fixture is $50 to $200 for the most part, Home Depot, Lowe's, Wayfair, but it can really make a big difference. One, it could change the tone. If these builder grade fixtures are still there, maybe the nickel is off or they're brass, and it is time to change the color palette of the lighting in the house or just the shape and style to be a little bit more up to date. And next, if you have an agent who is going to help you with staging the home, which I would encourage you to find, I either have my stager come in and work with my client's belongings, or we stage the home. Depends on multiple factors, and that is not always part of my client's out-of-pocket budget. Why? Because staging moves houses. People can envision themselves in a fresh style in a space. It doesn't hide or cover up flaws. I'm telling you, people will see drywall patches, stains, leaks. They know a bad house that's been staged versus a good one, but staging helps people envision themselves in the space, understand how the space is used. So staging a home helps so much more than you may even imagine. Last, I sometimes get asked if something unique about a house should be changed. Not always. If it's too weird, too bold, too funky, sometimes yes. But when people are seeing 10 houses in a day, sometimes clients are flying in and they are seeing 20 houses in a day, flying out after seeing 5 more the next day. And so 25 houses in a day and a half, and they will actually try to pick one after that weekend. It's nice to have something about your house that stands out. It's okay if you have a blue bathroom. It's okay if you have a little Buddha statue in the backyard. It's okay if pick something unique about your house and it can stay. If it is an all-white house perfectly staged and they see 4 other all-white houses perfectly staged with nothing unique, not a pop of color, nothing that stands out with any sense of character, that's fun, something that makes them smile, your house can get lost in the wash. So it's a blend. You want to create an emotional experience and connection for the folks that are coming into the home. So when I do get asked that question, should I neutralize everything? It is a case-by-case basis. So don't freak out too much if you have something special in your house. Now quickly, what is a fixer-upper? The worst of the worst have structural concerns. So that is not really what I am focused on, right? We're not talking about ones where the back patio is cracked and sliding off, where you go into the basement and we see just the foundation has cracks everywhere. We're talking about the properties where you feel like when you walk in, it is top to bottom starting over, maybe even some drywall repairs. And the money, you almost can't even fathom it. You feel like you need a contractor to come in and tell you what the final number is going to be, because you aren't sure by the time you do the bathroom and the kitchen and the flooring and the paint. And then you realize you got to do the trim because the trim is old and it's from the 70s and it's too short and it's grooved and this is banged up and that door has a hole in it and the plumbing may not be up to date, and gosh, is the electrical going to be able to handle the new appliances? And it just goes on and on and on, or it's half of the house, or the numbers get so big that people really have to pull down the list price of the house. And I know you hear it all the time. If you have searched, looked up as a buyer or a seller, how do I make a good presentation on a home? Curb appeal, it is so true. If someone walks up and the siding is warped, peeling, has holes, roof shingles are showing that they're curling up. I saw one of the fixer-upper houses. It was a true shake shingle roof, and I could see from the far away picture all the warped shake shingles. They should have just done the roof before they came to market. They could have marketed they had a new roof. At least they would have had one advantage going in. They could have talked about something new on the house that would have knocked off $30,000 in the cha-ching on the buyer as they walked in to look at that house. So if you're a buyer in the South Denver market, are we more of a fixer-upper style market? What are you going to find more of? Are we more of a remodeled market? And sellers, where are you going to fit in this spectrum? I would say we're more of a move-in ready market. We are neither heavy fixer-upper or heavy remodeled. When I say move-in ready, here's what I mean. These are houses that generally need personal touch added to them, but they have good bones. They're a little dated. One of the spaces may have been updated, or it could have been updated 10 years ago and be dated again. Or it could have a lot of DIY work. And I don't mean bad DIY as a fixer. I mean DIY work that's just, the cabinets were DIY painted. Oh, please don't do that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And so it's time to take those out, get some fresh cabinets that have soft close, that have drawers, that have roll-out shelves. And so it looks good. It's aesthetically pleasing in pictures because pictures hide so much, but it's not comfortably livable. It's not maybe a space that a family wants to invite friends over the course of the next 5 years, including teenagers and their friends. And so it works for today. You can come in and put all your stuff down, but you know that you're putting money in for projects over the next several years. It's structurally sound, the HVAC is working, the roof isn't leaking, the foundation is functional, it has no cracks, so all of the core structures are there. The windows don't have to be redone this year. It might be 7 more years, thank goodness, because windows are expensive. So it works for today, but it needs work over time. That is move-in ready. And that is the majority of our market, at least for homes that are in that pre-2010 era, getting back into the 90s era. You are lucky when you find one that's been beautifully updated, remodeled, and you like it. That's the thing. Everyone's taste is so particular. So sellers, if you have a move-in ready house and you want to upgrade it to a remodeled house, what are the best things you can do? Especially if you want to minimize your budget output and maximize what you get from a buyer. First and foremost, I would say paint. Paint goes so far. It's not always cheap. People say paint is so cheap. It is if you DIY it, but a lot of people don't want to. And we have a lot of vaulted ceilings with big natural light in our homes down here in Douglas County and South Denver and Centennial and South Aurora. And so having help is wonderful. But paint, get a nice neutral paint. Call in someone who has a designer who will help you pick a good color so that you don't end up jarring against maybe the backsplash in your kitchen, the wood undertones you may have. Don't just go it alone is my recommendation, but get that whole house painted freshly. Do the trim, do the doors, do all of it. Because if you paint those walls fresh and then you notice after they're gone, you're gonna see every nick, ding, scratch in your doors, handles, trim, all of that, and it will stand out to the buyers as well. If you have more money or your paint's already been done, that consistent flooring that I talked about. You don't have to do hard surface. If carpet is cheaper and it works for you, do it. Yes, the buyer may tear it out, but it doesn't matter. You've put in clean, fresh carpet. Do not go the route of giving a credit. People smell the smell that comes with old. They see the sight that comes with old, and it's not a pleasing experience. So if it needs to be done, do it. Find the most cost-effective way for it to be done. If you can do it before you move out, if you know you have 3 years, pick something you're going to enjoy and that has some longevity to it in terms of what's current in the marketplace and trends. Third is kitchens and baths. Do not scrimp on these if you're going to do it. I really do not recommend DIY cabinet painting. I would rather you have yellow oak cabinets in your home than poorly painted cabinets in your home. Either get them professionally done or leave them as is. Better yet, take them out and get brand new ones. That will go even farther towards saying you have a remodeled kitchen. You really do need to have new cabinetry to say it's remodeled. It is updated if you painted them. And to leave old cabinets and put on new countertops and a new backsplash is frustrating to buyers. I will tell you that because they usually want new cabinetry, but they are now paying you for the new countertop and backsplash you put in. Sometimes without really updating your faucet or really updating the hardware in there or the appliances or putting in new cabinetry that it could accommodate something that is a little bit bigger fridge or more modern appliances, or repositioning maybe a hood over a gas cooktop. So if you do just a little and try to get a lot, it doesn't always work and can backfire. In the bathrooms, if you're going to do an update, do it professionally, please. Guys, I saw the most awful bathroom the other week. The seller DIY'd everything, and we went into this master shower that had multiple shower heads, and the tile cuts looked like someone had taken them outside and broken them on the curb. I mean, it didn't look like they had even tried to use a saw. I don't know what's going to happen for that house. They would be better off to have someone come in and redo all the tile work than do price cuts, because a buyer is always going to charge more to do the work later than to see it redone professionally. So if you're ever going to do anything DIY, have the skills. Otherwise, pay for someone to do it for you. When you're in the middle of updates, where can you save money? You do not have to go over the top. You don't need a steam shower. You don't need smart mirrors. You don't have to wire your home for surround sound or things that are smart all throughout the house. I do not recommend solar panels. I cannot tell you how many clients I have had put solar panels on in the last few years and then go to sell and need to pay them off to make the deal happen. And it has cost them $30,000, $27,000, $18,000, all depending on the size of the house. So unless you know you're staying put for a very long time, I do not recommend upgrading to solar. I have done a video on this. Please, you have to know you're going to be there to get anything out of it. Kitchen appliances. If you are updating other things in the home and you have mismatched appliances, you really don't have to go and match them. It's nice, it's a nice look, but a lot of times if the kitchen isn't fully updated already and that's not the area you spent your money, the buyer is going to come in and do those updates for themselves. Let them get the induction cooktop. Let them get the high-end gas. Let them take the microwave out and put the hood in. That's okay. Do everything else to the best of your ability. And last, don't overspend on landscaping extras if your interior needs work. It's fine for your landscaping to be plain and clean and put all of the effort on getting the interior up to snuff. We don't need to have you create at the last minute a garden that tries to look like Denver Botanic Gardens when you've got a lot of work to do on the inside. So as a seller, this may be frustrating news. Why can't I just get my house on the market? Markets ebb and flow, right? We have watched this market change, but why aren't buyers willing to take my fixer, even if I price it low? There are cases they do. I could pull out case after case where we could put a home on the market that is drab, not beautifully presented, and it moves quickly. That is all about pricing, but it is a rare seller who is pricing low enough on their fixer to get it moved quickly. And so what we see is that it's priced too high, and then that is why we're still seeing the price cuts, right? And so it sits and we have challenges and it is frustrating and it is hard because you're emotionally tied in through that whole process of selling, right? You're still linked to the house. We want it to move as quick as possible. So we either price really low so we get multiple offers and we move it fast, or we improve the house so that we have buyers who want the house and they're fighting for it and it's attractive and it's easy. So those are kind of the options to get things moving in the market that we're in today. Buyers don't want a fixer because it's not easy. And in the Denver market, it's expensive to live here. So it's often two incomes, people working their jobs, and they don't want to come home and do the work on a house. And for people who are coming from elsewhere, out of state, they really do feel a lot of concern about finding contractors they can trust, not getting taken advantage of. And so knowing they can walk into a home that's already done just puts their mind at ease. They want to be able to unload that truck, go and explore this new beautiful place they've moved to, go off to their job, and come back and just build a network of friends. They don't want their new contractor to be their friend, or the neighbors they're complaining to about their bad contractor to be the way they meet their new neighbor and friend. On top of that, sellers, if you did not know this, maybe you did some renovations during COVID and you felt like it was still affordable, doable. The price for renovations has gone up 60% in the last 5 years. So we're talking about since the start of COVID to today, we are seeing an increase of 60% in the cost to do renovation. That's labor, that's raw materials. That is drastic. That is more than it is the cost increase for home prices. So that's part of the rub. A buyer looks at it and goes, it's much more advantageous for me to buy the home, roll it into my mortgage, roll it into my monthly payment than it is to buy the cheaper house and then work through trades and contractors and do it myself. So unless they have a real sweat equity skill set, it doesn't often make sense for them. That's why the renoed home, the updated home, is getting sold at a premium, and the fixer's really seeing that discount, particularly in our market. If you would like help navigating how to get your home from drab move-in ready to fab move-in ready or renovated status on a budget, please reach out. I would love to connect. And buyers, if you want help navigating how to get the best deal in this market, same goes for you. I would love to chat. And I will see y'all next week.